Jonathan Chandler coming to you from the Virginia School of Traditional Arts. Got a little Vise project today. We bought us a new to me, drill press. And I've had this drill press Vise laying around the shop. I bought it years and years ago at a school auction. And it certainly looks like it's been at a school. Got drill holes all in it. They've even drilled on top of the bolt that holds the little part here on. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to take this apart. I'm going to clean it up. I've already cleaned on it some. It's been sitting in the shop full of grease and oil and everything. And I'm going to try to restore some of this damage here. Make sure y'all can see it. Some of these damage here by welding this over and then grinding it back off flat or filing it back off flat. If I had a mill, like an end mill, that would be ideal, but I don't have that, so this is all going to be hand done. But the first step is we'll take it apart and get it clean as we can. And like I said, I've already cleaned on it some. So this bolt I loosened with a wrench, but even the bolt has where they've drilled on top of the bolt that holds this together. I taught school 21 years. Nothing shocks me. nothing at all shocks me. Alright, so there's our screw and our bolt. We'll replace the bolt, of course. And on this side, I didn't loosen these, but they were already loose. They were big Phillips screwdriver screws. And so this holds on the bottom plate, and that's what it looked like originally. All of it was looking pretty much like that. There's a place to put all of our stuff, so I don't lose anything. So that's that part out. And we have another part here. I don't know if this is the right one. There it goes. And the two screws. There. And that's needing cleaning up. It's looking pretty gritty. And then on this end, up here, these are probably the same Phillips screws again. But I think I have a move with this thing. What kind of screws we got down there? Huh. This is Phillips on this side. I've got it out. So we're leaving a bolt in that. Here's what's in this side. Yeah, this is the Phillips. Phillips on one side and flat on the other. Seem to be. Yeah, it sure was. Flat one on the one side. Okay, so we got that apart. Alright. We're just going to use some of this brake parts cleaner and clean the grease off of this thing in a wire brush, and we'll get down in these holes as best we can and just coat them down real good and let it sit there and eat that stuff away, because it's got to be clean if we're going to weld this. So the basic parts look pretty good. I mean, they've drilled a hole down the jaw of the vise, which is annoying. But we might even turn that one around, because it's got a slot on this side that's milled in. Might even turn that around so it's back looking a little better. Anyway, that's what that side looks like. This is the milled side on your vise. So that don't look too bad. But they drilled the holes down in it too. I swear. Alright, eyes and ears on for this stuff. Alrighty. Just gonna get off any residue that's stuck. Clean it up pretty good. Getting pretty good. Trying to get in all the little creases. I would like all the mating surfaces to be as clean as I can get them. This side. Mainly down in those holes. That's what I was after. I wouldn't say it's spectacularly clean, but cleaner. If it just had one or two little holes like that, that wouldn't bother me at all. What I would like it to be is when I set my piece down on this, I want it to be level with the table so we can try to keep 90 degrees on our drilling. If we get all these chips out of it, it's tough. You don't know what it's going to rest on. If it was just a few, like maybe a half an inch of them, I'd just add a plate on this and put my jaw back on and deal with that. But you know, you got 2 inches of, if you do 2 inches of plate, then you've lost your vise. You don't have any room left. So that's looking better. We're going to weld on that. Alright, just show you my setup here. I got my, of course, my vise body, and I just added this piece of metal. It's flat right against this, a 90-degree corner right against this where my jaw fits in. I want to protect that. It's not been drilled into, so I just want to make sure I'm not getting over too far with my welder. If I happen to weld this piece in, I can just grind on this, be a sacrificial piece. But I'm going to plug up most of these holes. I don't know if I'll get them all, but I'll plug up most of them. And that's just there to protect me from getting crazy with my welder. Sometimes you get your helmet on. Nobody else ever does that. I get lost sometimes. Do crazy stuff. I have put a little heat in this with a torch, but not much. Trying to do the deepest ones first. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, this is cast iron. I guess I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but anyway, we're not trying to put much heat in it. I can still hold this with my hand. It's a big, heavy, thick piece of steel anyway, or iron. But I'm just going to put tack welds on it, boot, 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 just across, not anything solid. And then I'm going to go back, keep doing that, and keep grinding it. And I am protecting my front edge here and the little edge at the bottom with that extra piece of metal so that I can keep a flat reference point here, and I've got flat reference points back here, so we can grind and have some method of keeping it level. And so we're just going to keep doing that. It may take a few days to do this because I want this to cool back down. Like I said, I'm keeping it where I can touch it. Even down here I can touch it. It's warm down there, but I can touch it. So we're not trying to heat it up quickly or put a whole bunch of weld at once on it, because the cast iron will crack. We're trying to let it cool down reasonably slow. And so we're putting it up on the next piece, a little piece of metal. And then I'm grinding it with that little piece of metal under it and trying to keep it down more or less flat. So that's what it's looking like after I've welded on it just a little bit and ground on it, just knocking off the high points twice. This is twice. So it's filling them in. The cast iron welds weird, leaves big divots in it. Like that, just a little spot weld. It should have been filled in solid, but I've got some weld on it now, so now when I go back it should do a little better. But it's starting to fill in. Once you get a little MIG wire on there, it should weld a little better, and then be able to get off fairly easy. MIG is not the best tool for this. If you had a stick welder with some cast iron rods, would be ideal. But that leaves a lot more splatter and a lot less control for me. So I'm just going to keep doing this and fill in the best that I can. I'm just using my angle grinder right now to grind it back off. I'm just hitting the high spots. I'm not trying to get it perfectly flat. When I go to try to get it perfectly flat, I'll take it over to my belt grinder and take some time and ensure that my belt and my table are 90 degrees, and we'll show you that, and we'll just rub it in there. But we're just going to do the very last step with that. Alright, that's our third time we weld, and then I ground it off. This time with the, instead of using the grinder, I used the 2x72 belt grinder with this up on its side, and as 90 degrees as I can get it. And we're trying real hard to stay off of our original part here, so we're keeping this level is what we're trying to do. But as you can see, we're filling in the holes little by little. This section here looks really good. We just got to do kind of around the edge of it, and this was terrible looking to start with, but we'll come back out here and do some more. I don't know how much I'm going to work on getting this inside perfect. There's a piece that slides up and down in here, so I hate to put too much weld in there that I'm going to have to grind off by hand or with a file. But we'll do some of it, I guess. But we want to get at least enough surface out here so when I lay a piece down, it's not falling in holes and doing all kind of craziness. At least more. I've taken just a few minutes and cleaned up the other parts while we're waiting on the body of it to cool off. And these two screws don't match. That bothers me, but nobody cares, I guess, except me. But we've cleaned up everything. I would like to make a handle for this. It came with a little bar through it, which is very annoying if you've ever used one of those, especially when it's flat to the table of the drill press. And so that's why most people take them off. But I'm going to make, I think I have some plastic handles. We'll see what we got. We may either make a wooden handle that'll slide on here or a plastic handle if I have one. And just something, you don't crank on this like to tighten something to bend it or anything. You just get it snug. And the faster you can do that, the better you like it. So we'll work on that. But I've cleaned up all the little hardware. This one little bolt, somebody has drilled the top of it for some unknown reason, and I found a replacement. It's just a little long. Now this one does have the very end of it has been turned down a little bit so that it's smaller in diameter, where it'll run on this. It'll run on this spot here and move. That's what moves this up and down. Is it running on that little spot? So we'll take care of that too. Just basically you got to knock the threads off once you get it to the right length. But we'll work on that. But this is all of our parts. There's our front jaw. This is the back jaw. And I thought this was factory, but it's not. It's where somebody's drilled down through on both sides. Now, how do you do that? But they probably turned it over at some point, and they drilled it even worse. But anyhow, we got them cleaned up where they'll go back, and we'll fix this little bolt here. My hope was that this end would fit in my drill and I could stick it in there and just spin it, but it doesn't, so we're going to have to do this manually, which would be alright too. Probably getting pretty close. So I've got a little internal lock washer with little bolts on it, and a flap washer. They're thinner, very much thinner than the split washer was. I'd rather not put any washers on this, but I guess I'm gonna have to. That will do. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Let's try and adjust this one. There we go. Crank down on that dude. Get the right wrench, helps. That would hold him from coming off. Alright, we got him that go round. I'm just going to squirt a little bit of oil on these pieces to keep them from rusting overnight, because we've cleaned every bit of the oil off. But that will work, and it's a little internal lock washer. That'll work good. We'll get rid of these. Just going to spray a little bit on this rag. Just put a little oil back on the parts so that they don't rust. This thing will have plenty of oil when we go to drilling metal with it. Right now, I don't have any. This is our fourth and final time. We've welded on this. I went ahead and welded these edges. It was bothering me. I was getting it plenty flat in the middle, but I welded a pass down both sides. Of course, these are the hardest ones to grind, so we'll probably have to do something with a file. And I cleaned up the outside edges, and I took it over to my belt sander, 72-inch belt sander, and set it up on the flattest side I could find, and then ground in here. I knocked off the chunks with the little grinders, but I went ahead and ground it with that 72 belt. and did pretty good. My belt doesn't want to run true, so it doesn't want to get right here on this edge. The rest of it's pretty good, I think. It's a little bit of a high point right there and right along this edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few minutes with a file, and I'm going to file this, and I'll grind off with a can of this, and then I'll file that, get that trued up, because there's a block that slides up and down in here. That was my fear. I wouldn't get my block to slide up and down smooth anymore, so but we can grind that off pretty easy, or file it off. But looking a lot better than it was. If y'all remember, this thing was full of holes. But it's took me about 4 times to weld and then grind back to try to get most of the holes done. And it's not perfect by any means, but it's close enough. I just didn't want my pieces to drop down in those holes and be crazy off flat. It's pretty flat right now. Like I said, it's just a little high right here on this very end because of my sander, but the rest of it's pretty good. And but we'll take a few minutes and file that. And it's getting there. It's just ever so slightly high now. I've done one side. I've turned it over in my vise, and you can see this is lumpy, pretty lumpy. So what I do first is take the flap wheel, and I'll try to knock off the book. Good, I can get it. Now we switch over to our old school file. Trick with an old school file is get a new file. Gotta find the file ahead. Trick with filing is get a sharp file. Buy some files. That's one of the things that most people buy one time and they never buy another one, but it wears out relatively quickly. So buy some files. Get this thing to set up in here. Alright, got done filing a little bit, trying to test fit this thing. I've cleaned these pieces up, and it fits in there good down here. That's what it's supposed to do. When you get to here, and I'm going to mark it, it starts to touch. So we're going to mark it with something. I get a pencil or something here. There we go. We're going to mark it so we know where to file a little bit more. So good up to there. So we're almost there. It's just where we've been welding, and it's a little flippy flip in there a little bit. All right, we'll slide her up. She's working now. I had to just go back and file and grind just ever so slightly, but it works now. Now all's left to put her back together. It shouldn't be too hard, I wouldn't think. We'll start with the plate. Make sure we don't have any debris on that plate. Alright. How many bolts we got? That's the one right there. There we go. Now these can't be but so tight because it's got the slide, so we'll just snug them up. Just snug them up. Make
make sure it still slides. Yeah, it's too tight. Too tight. Make sure it still slides here. Get them a paper towel. Alright. I probably should have put those on before I did that. Anyhow, this one was the front one. Got a little piece of sandpaper here. This feels like got a couple of welding sparks on it. Knock those off. Alrighty, put this back on. Actually, these bigger ones that did that one. Bigger ones that did that. As I recall, we got a flat one on this side. Alright, it's alright if these ones are snug. And then, I have two here that are for this back. Now, we got a choice on this back. We can put it this way, which is the way it was. It's actually probably like that, with this hole drilled in it. Or we can cover that part up, and this has some smaller holes. I'm thinking if the holes will line up, I may do that. I may do that part. The holes will line up. Copacetic just yet hadn't hit the hole. Alright. That back in there. And now, all that's left is our see, screws in. I forgot about that part. Screws in that hole. Comes back. We do have us a new little screw for that. The last one, somebody. Somebody drilled a hole in just for kicks, looked to me like. There's no reason to drill a hole in it. And we made that so it would snug up ever so slightly so we wouldn't lose it. The last thing I would like to do is put a handle on this, so we'll figure on that. But that's our piece. We squirt down a little oil now to make it feel back at home under the drill press, but that's pretty good. Cleaned up good. Alright, turns out I did have a tap for it, so we're going to take our time and we're going to tap this. Alright, that's probably all we got right there. deep that is. It's not a bottoming tap, so it's gonna get tight sooner than the bottom. We keep going, so I'm gonna keep going. Alright, and that's our trouble is it's down in there good, but when you go to release it, it wants to turn off our handle. So what we'll do is we'll clean that up and we'll put some Loctite or super glue or something on it, so that it doesn't do that. I haven't glued it yet. We're going to see if it'll just work like yet. But it's working. But we'll probably have to end up putting some glue in that. If the glue doesn't hold, we'll drill a hole through this handle, a small hole right through the middle, and put a pin in there too. That'll help us too, just like a little drive pin. But that's our lathe vise, or not a lathe vise, our drill press vise redone. Added a little plastic handle to help us be faster with this. This works, but that's slow. So that works. And this little handle, I'll tell you where I got that. It was off of they were actually the footrests of the old office chairs. They had an aluminum, like way star looking thing with a circle around it that you put your foot on, and this actually held it to the center stop of your chair. And somebody gave me a whole bunch of them, and they had them little handles on it, so I kept that filed in my that'll be good to know one day file. So that did good. I think that's done 100% better than it was, but that's what it looks like. Back up into operating shape. Back up to operating shape. Alright, hope you've enjoyed our video about restoring this little drill press vise. Like I said, I bought this one at a school sale. And it was treated like it was at a school sale too. But we done a pretty good job of restoring it. It's very much functional now. It wasn't very functional before. We made a couple of improvements, put our knob on the end there, filled in all the drill holes down here and ground it back off smooth. Got everything operating good. If you've liked this video, please like it.